Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is SolieSims and welcome back to another speed build on my channel. We are jumping right into another build in Paralives. I am getting so much entertainment out of this game. You have no idea. I absolutely love it, and I've been playing around in live mode as well, and I don't know, my power is just doing the most. I'm in love with this game. This time around for this build, I wasn't quite sure yet who I wanted to be living here. I just decided I wanted to build something small on this lot, and I didn't know who was going to be living here. And the thing with me is that I enjoy building homes for Paras. I typically have an idea of who it is that's going to be in the house, so I know how I'm going to go about doing the furnishings, the color schemes, all of these things. I only knew who I was building this house for after I started building it. Now I wasn't sure. I didn't know that there were built-in chimneys in the game, so I was already trying to do my own custom one, which there's nothing wrong with doing that. It's actually not a bad thing at all. I mean, we've done it so many times in the past on other games, but when I found that there were, I adjusted it and I took that out. Now this home has two entrances. Well, one main entrance really, but there's also a back deck as well, and it does sit on a junction, so there's not too much privacy, but we do get around to sorting that out in the end. So for this home, I ended up creating a space for an older child-free couple who have settled into a comfortable stage in life. So I would imagine that they're in the mid to late 40s or creeping into the 50s. So they both have established careers and enjoy a quieter lifestyle, and I wanted a home that feels like it's peaceful for them without being overly large or complicated. The house itself, it sits on a small lot overlooking the town, and it's actually one of my favorite things about this build, the fact that it has this location, and the fact that it was a small lot as well. It kind of really drew me in, and I needed to try this out. So being on that height, I felt like it chose the career for at least one of the paras living here. So the elevated location gives the home some really beautiful views, and I imagine this being one of the reasons the couple themselves chose the property in the first place. So it's close enough to town to feel connected to the community, but yet far enough away to enjoy a little bit of privacy and tranquility and calm. So in my head, the husband works as a science teacher at the local high school, and he's a naturally curious para. He enjoys learning and spends a lot of time reading and exploring different interests. And his love of science inspired one of the additions to the property, which was the telescope out in the backyard. And I can picture him spending clear evenings outside overlooking the stars and enjoying the view of the town. Maybe he sees a few things that we wouldn't normally know or see. Now, because like I said, this is on an intersection, there is not much privacy here, and I didn't want to just put up fencing. And because of course the crossing is right there on the corner, I did allow for just a hedge to keep a hint of privacy, but not really too much, because there is that open space in the front. So I just put in some trees and shrubbery, and I decided to put in a table and chair out here. And I imagine they mostly come out here on a weekend when it's a lot more quieter, like maybe not a Saturday, but probably on a Sunday morning when people are off at church maybe, or they're indoors, etc. So there's not many people coming through, or rather if they do come through, it's people they know, so they can just do a quick wave and be done with it. Like, hi, how are you doing? Lovely weather, the type of small interaction that happens. So to continue with the paras, the wife who works as a manager at a local business and has a busy professional life, I believe. So when she comes home, she wants a space that feels calm and organized. Because of that, I decided to keep the overall design fairly simple and minimalist. I didn't want the house to feel cluttered or overwhelming, so instead I focused on trying to have a comfortable furniture in place and a more modern style that is a bit practical, but it is as well very comfortable and welcoming. I wanted the outside property, the landscaping, etc., to feel maintained and well cared for. So it is very neat and groomed, I would say, and it gives the impression that both the homeowners take pride in their space. So there's also the back deck I was mentioning earlier, and I put in a barbecue, a pair of chairs, and I feel like it's a perfect spot for them to relax after work, or maybe spend a nice weekend evening together, overlooking the view and taking in the sunset. I imagine the sunset is so beautiful there as well. So the other thing that I really like about this game is because as much as we have a lot of things that we can incorporate into the game, it can be a bit repetitive because we don't have a super large catalog as well. So I just took some of the potted plants and I sunk them into the ground to I just add a little bit of different shrubbery. We don't have ferns or anything, well, not that I really saw that we had ferns or anything like that. And I just went with a repeated pattern of colors of lavender, reds and yellows, and just threw in some just green shrubbery here and there. And I pulled the red from the tree mostly, so that is just all it was, really just pulling from there. For the layout of the house, I went with an open concept. So the kitchen, dining and living room is all in one shared space. And since it's just the two of them, I feel like they would prefer a home that would encourage them spending time together more than having lots of separate different rooms. And they're always either cooking together or watching television or just chatting about their day, catching up, etc. Just anything that makes them feel more connected, and it's just an easy space to move through. The entryway is a very simple space. I just put in this long table, I forget, console table or side table, and just the mirror, the two prints on the wall, and the flower vase to start. Towards the end of the video, I do add in a briefcase for the husband, I imagine, and one of those fancy top hats that I imagine he came home and he just dropped everything there. And for the wife, I decided that maybe she came from work and she decided to make a stop to pick up maybe a silk scarf or just another piece of fashion. So I did add in one of the shopping bags on the table as well. And on the other side, opposite side of the entryway, I eventually did put in a desk and computer, etc. You know, those little things like that. Originally, it was not my intention to put in a television, but I only put in two skill building activities in here, which were the telescope for one. I mean, cooking is always one as well, and the bookshelf. So, well, I guess it was three really, just these three things, but not anything that is, except for maybe the telescope, that is like an active skill building item. So yeah, so that's what I decided to maybe put in the television and say that they at least watch. There's probably one or two shows that they sit and they watch together religiously, maybe a couple times a week. I feel like that's something that they would probably do as well. So I did go ahead and I changed the fireplace and I put in something else, and again, just keeping everything as minimalist as possible. I did go with a bit of a mix of, I guess, maybe traditional and modern look for the furniture. color scheme overall in this house is a bit dull. There's not really any bright pops of color except for maybe the yellow. So it's very muted tones. It's more like a I forgot the name of the shade of yellow that I use, but of course it's very pale, as you can see. So there's a lot of grays and navy blues and darker wood tones and black, etc. So that is very predominant throughout the build overall, but I feel like it just suits their space. Like I said, the kitchen is also lacking much of any clutter, so it's just like the essential stuff is out there on the counter. There's one counter space that's actually clear of anything at all, and I guess it just makes it easier to maneuver and do what it is that they have to do. I did encounter a bug that took my back deck all the way down into the mountain. I could look down into the blackness and just see my deck with all the stuff sitting on here. I did send feedback to the devs for that, and I tried to pull the decking back up, but it wouldn't work, so I had to redo all of that over. But in doing that, it kind of messed with my kitchen a little bit, where the ceiling disappeared. So the kitchen doesn't have a ceiling, but I was able to just pull the roof over and I continued as it was, because every time I tried to do something else, it messed with another wall or it messed with another. So I just left it as is, and I said it's functional, it works, so it is completely fine. The bedroom is fairly small and very compact. I'm not even quite sure that two paras can possibly use the bed, but it will be tested. And I I think that style though of it being so small works very well for the story of this house and who lives here, because not every home, I believe, needs a huge primary suite, and I imagine that this couple prioritize the living areas and outdoor spaces over a larger bedroom, and as a result, keeping the room simple and small, functional, it kind of takes away the focus of the bedroom, and making sure that it remains practical, I guess you could see. So overall, this build is a little simpler and a little bit more minimalist than some of my previous projects, but I really enjoy creating a home that feels realistic and suited to the people living here. And sometimes the most comfortable homes aren't the biggest or the most extravagant, it's just the simple ones without too much flair or anything of the sort that just works, you know? Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this build as much as I did creating it, and I will see you again in the next one. Bye!